We'll call the meeting to order and have the roll please.
Mr. Everett,
Here.
Mrs. Grant,
Here.
Mr. Palmer,
Here.
Mrs. Celine, you, Mrs.
Here. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So move. Second.
Okay, moved by Ken, second by Israel. We'll have roll please.
Mr. Everett,
Yes.
Mr. Palmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Grant,
Yes.
Mrs. Celine,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. And next we'll approve the minutes for the meeting that we have on November 21st. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Moved by Dora. Is there a second? Second. Second by Jackie. We'll have the roll please.
Mrs. Grant,
Yes.
Mrs. Celine,
Yes.
Mr. Everett,
Yes.
Mr. Palmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. Very good. We'll hold up on the sponsors report in the event that Ed is, you can get is, you should do that, right? Or should
I think we should hold off and see if he comes. If
Okay.
not, some of what he probably, maybe we talk about might be in some of my.
In your resolution. Okay, very good. Is there any public participation that needs to be acknowledged? Hearing none, we'll move on. Are there any board member liaison reports that need to be presented to the board? Hearing none, you.
I have nothing. Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
I didn't know if you heard me or not.
What did you say?
I don't have anything.
Okay, very good. I did not hear you, so thank you. Had everyone received the updates, the legislative updates from Amy Goodson's office in an email? It would have been in an email. Okay. One of the items in that update was the fact that we will need to be arranging for board training for the ethics and sunshine laws. So my understanding after the last experience is that you would prefer to have that done in person, is that correct? Or are you willing to try it online again?
I'm fine either way.
I'm ready to work.
Okay. Either way? Yeah. Okay. So if we do it online, Kelsey, I understand that is more positive in terms of our auditor's report.
That's the way that Amy made it sound, something about they're kind of shifting to preferring or getting close to requiring it to come from the Ohio Attorney General's office. They want you to specifically do that training. She said if we didn't, probably the worst that would come out of it would just be a comment on the audit. So not a huge deal, but that does seem to be the state's preference at this time.
Okay. So David, you can set that up for us then?
Is that the Attorney General's training in public school work?
That's the Attorney General's website. I know I helped
They get separate.
Dora and Jackie last year. They came in and worked on it, and then I think you finished it at home. So as long as we've got your password, see if you have it written down somewhere, your password from last year. If not, I will try to help locate that for you.
So I'm the Attorney General.
Attorney General's website.
Yeah.
Kelsey did the course recently.
I do the live one, so I just register and they just send me a link. If you do the live one, they do have like interactive polls that you have to click check marks throughout it, so they like make sure that you're, engaged. But I think Brian, I think you do the one that's just,
So it's not live, but it's the one where you can log in and do it at your pace, which is the one that you did as well last year. I tried to log in last week and it wouldn't let me. I don't know if it's because I just did it in June and it hasn't been long enough. So I'll have to do some more research on it to make sure that you guys can log in and access yours.
When does that be completed?
I think we have until the end of the school year technically.
Right.
So we've got.
And I think we may end up with the same problem because we didn't complete that until the end of the school year. So we'll find out about that, but let's plan on doing it online. All right, very good. We'll move on to the treasurer's report.
Firstly, I just want to say thank you for the Christmas gift from the board. It was very generous. You did not have to do that. Thank you so much.
That's on behalf of the whole staff, the whole staff was very great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Firstly, just a small update on our ARP ESSER funds in terms of the SRO. We talked about moving our SRO out of our ESSER funds and turning it towards our disadvantaged people impact aid funds because those are in our general fund. So I did go ahead and make that transition. It'll definitely help us get a lot closer to spending all of those DPIA funds. Second, a quick safety grant update. We are on track to pending the purchase that's on the agenda tonight, spend all of those funds. They had to be obligated or encumbered by the end of December. So the final purchase that we're recommending will get us to that point, and those will all be spent. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, we can move on to the report. I've got a packet for you. We can go ahead and turn past the minutes. Tax reconciliation, we ended the month with $7,910,253.10. Next, we've got our disbursement summary. I didn't have anything I felt needed pointed out or anything worth noting, but does anybody have any questions over any specific disbursement? If not, on the outstanding disbursement summary, I just wanted to point out we do still have the one from March that we've referenced a couple of times, but there's also one from August. So I sent an email very recently checking in on this. Initially, Chad was going to attend the OCTM conference, so we registered him and I was invoiced for him and I paid him separately. And then we made the decision to send quite a bit more staff and we bulk registered them. And I paid for the rest of the staff. So I'm not sure if they thought he was included in that. And so they cashed the bigger check, but not the smaller one. So I reached out to touch base with them on that because he was not included in the bulk registration. So hopefully that'll get resolved soon. But other than that, the rest are fairly recent. If there's no questions, we can go on to our spreadsheet. So we were in the positive $218,757 for November. If you look at the bottom right section, just a couple of things to note. You'll see that our purchase services were high. They were at 117% of what we estimated. This is because of the resource officer transfer out of ESSER. So since I took everything that we had spent so far this year out of ESSER, it was a very large amount for the month. So that's what caused it to be high. And to the left, if you look, our like total percentage is also slightly high, and supplies is still slightly high because of the very large initial curriculum purchase. However, our total expense percentage is still below right where we'd expect to be, which is good. Above that, our total revenue percentage is a little bit above where we expected to be, so that's also good. And our total FTE for November was 390.84, so down just slightly. Are there any questions on the spreadsheet? We've got our state foundation payment. One thing to note with the retirement payments, I did get confirmation that we paid the employee portion of the Sandy Carroll payback, and the employer version is going to be included in the state foundation payment, so we don't have to worry about making a separate block payment. They're going to put it in for us. Before the retirement payments, we received $422,417.21. So the funding formula is still holding strong. Our monthly revenue is still looking good. Next, I've got the December summary as well as the November one, just so we can compare where we're at according to last month to this month. We are a little bit lower than where they predicted us in November. We did have our FTE go slightly down. We had a couple of withdrawals, things like that. So we are about 100,000 lower, but still overall revenue for the year looks good. Next, I've got some recommendations, a resolution to approve the purchase of the complete national web check system from Biometric Information Management using both safety grant and general fund monies for a combined total of $6,500 as presented. This will allow us to do background checks in-house. We will get invoiced for the cost of them. The cost is lower than what we've been reimbursing for typically. I typically reimburse for anywhere between like 60 to 80 for both checks. The cost that will get invoiced is about 45, so we do save a little bit there. However, there is a yearly cost of $800, which is not overly significant, and this would be a really nice convenience for the staff.
And who did you decide was going to manage that?
We've had some discussion about it, but not,
Probably be an administrative assistant like Eileen, who's probably training her how to do the
Okay.
background checks as needed.
Would this be just for Townsend only, or is that something that,
so that's been discussed as well. I think starting off, it would definitely need to just be Townsend until we could kind of figure out, could we do it for Margaret employees? How would that work? How would the invoicing work? So I think potentially some of those questions could be answered in the training that's provided through the vendor.
Okay.
But I think to start, it would just be for Townsend, just until we kind of got our feet under us for it.
Long term, it would be beneficial to Margaret and to the community is if we would possibly open it up to others. We may want to look at charging a fee just to kind of cover our expenses for outside, people outside of Townsend, if we would do that.
Yeah, and I think that could potentially offset the $800 per year cost if we were, you know, if it was slightly higher, just to help us maintain that fee. I did note on the front page the breakdown between the safety grant funds and the general fund. So the nice thing about having these safety grant funds is a small portion is coming out of the general fund, about $1,700. So this does give us a nice opportunity to purchase this with grant funds. Next, we've got a resolution to approve the purchase of bundle 3 services through SVU for an introductory annual rate of $8,695 and an annual rate of $11,695 thereafter with the services agreement as presented. I had presented this about 2 weeks ago, I think, or maybe a little over a week ago. Does anyone have any questions? SVU comes very highly recommended from a lot of local schools in the area. Diane sings its praises pretty strongly. It'll help our audits go a little bit more smoothly. It saves us time in terms of audits, so I think it'll bring our audit costs down as well. There's a lot of features that the auditors really like to see. There's certain things that you can include, like timestamps, and the requisition flow, I think will be better. Right now, we're doing all of that by paper. So to just have it in the system, have our records stored digitally, I think will really take us steps forward in terms of all of our document storage. Because right now, the sheer amount of paper that we have just from our financials is very large. So I think we really want to take this step moving forward to start getting things digitally.
We got it. We just got to do it.
who manages what goes in and what goes out? Just like, how would that?
What do you mean?
So we put documents in, and at some point, we only have to retain documents for so long, right? So then who would be?
In their system, you say?
Yes, in their system.
So they should stay as long as we're utilizing, they'll store our documents. I did ask if we would at any point stop using their service. They maintain all of our data records and they would give us copies of all of it.
Okay.
So we would still have that even if in the future we decided to discontinue this expense.
Okay.
Next, we have a resolution to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Ohio Attorney General's office as presented. This is one of the steps that's required in order for us to be able to do the fingerprinting here. So I thought it'd be best to just knock both out tonight, and be able to move forward with that quickly. Item G, we've got a resolution to adopt Caremark's broad vaccination network as presented. So this presents no upfront cost to us. It's just helping to ensure that for our employees, should they get vaccines, that they are covered. Finally, we've got a resolution to approve the contract for technical support services with NOACA as presented. This is from switching our phone service over to NOACA. So this is the contractual agreement that they presented us with. I had asked for a service agreement and this is what they provide.
They've been doing a really nice job for the new director over there. Really, I mean, you people brought in. They're really doing a nice job.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions? If not, that's all I've got for my report tonight.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion to approve action items A through H of the treasurer's reports?
Move.
Moved by Ken, is there a second?
Second,
Seconded by Israel. Any discussion, questions? Now, we'll have the roll, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Cuomo?
yes.
Mrs. Lee? Yes. Mrs. Smith?
Yes. Thank you, Kelsey. For that. Okay, we'll move on now, Ryan, to your report and your recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Let's start off by taking a look at our current enrollment data. Handout is in your folder there. So currently, as of yesterday, we were at 491 students. We have had 18 graduates this year, which is pretty good at this point. Looking back in comparison to last year this time, in December of 22, we were at 494 students. So we're only 3 less than last year. So while it feels like we're down a little bit right now, the gap from last year to this year is not very big. But again, we do have a goal of growing that enrollment, so that's something we're going to continue to try to do. We're doing a little bit of advertising this coming month in the Town Money Saver again for a month, especially being around the time where the first semester ends, the second semester starts. So hopefully we do see some growth in enrollment there.
On an average, how would we be working actively with enrollments right now? Like in a week's time, how many?
Becky constantly, I mean, every day almost, she has at least 1 or 2 enrollments, I would say.
I mean, to put it, we have had enrollments, and this is including re-enrollments. So we have had some students that have enrolled for the 3rd time this year. Becky has done 262 enrollments for the year. So that's a significant number.
Yeah.
But that just kind of shows our constant in and out graduates, withdrawals, students that leave us for other schools, you know, students that are withdrawn and then come back. So,
Yeah.
you know, significant enough, a number. And enrollments do seem to be picking up already for that, like new semester. They're realizing they didn't pass the first part of the year, or, you know, those seniors that are realizing that they're supposed to graduate, but they're not where they need to be. So that's definitely picking up right now.
And then since we're talking about enrollments, I'm gonna jump to C, and then I'm gonna come back to Tara and Ashley here in a moment on D. So we had a meeting recently with Lorraine County. Tracy Green is the vice president at Lorraine Community College, Lorraine County Community College, LCCC. And then Cindy Kushner is the director of school and workforce and community partnerships. And they were here about a week ago to visit Townsend. So we've had ongoing dialogue about the possibility of establishing a site in Lorraine County, specifically at Lorraine Community College. So they wanted to see Townsend for themselves, see it in action, see if this is something they were interested in partnering with. So they came here, they toured our location, as well as the Sandusky Artisans location, and we had a fantastic meeting. Janet Cooper joined us from Reach Success, who partners with a lot of people in Lorraine County as well. So she was an important part of that meeting, and then Jean was also here for a good portion of that meeting as well. And I can tell you that that meeting went extremely well. They were very pleased by our operation, very impressed by our school and what we're doing to serve kids. And we're going to take the next steps in having these conversations We plan to go there at some point. Look at some potential space. But at the same time, Ed, Kurt and I are going to reach out to the superintendents in Lorraine County and have conversations with them, meet in person. Or if they prefer Zoom, we'll meet by Zoom and just educate them on what Townsend is and how our school can benefit their students in terms of reaching student populations that are struggling. So over the next couple months, that's going to be taking place. But as a whole, our meeting with the leadership from Lorraine County Community College was very positive, and look forward to continue down this path and see where it leads.
Have you identified any obstacles right now that you see in working with them that's gonna present a problem for us?
I don't see anything glaring right now. I mean, once we get it up and running, obviously, we're gonna need staffing. And we're limited in how much staffing we're gonna be able to pull from here. I think we're gonna need to possibly strategically hire staffing that aligns with the enrollment as it progresses. That's probably more from the eastern direction that lives more that way. It's easier for them to get to work there. So staffing is one issue that we'll address, which shouldn't be a problem. They have a lunch line there that we can utilize. They have some other schools that have students on site as well. I believe Leary has a junior high program with some students that are there. So there's already a food line that we could potentially partner with them on that. There's a busing line that does stop at the college there. The busing, they said, is not great, but it is a busing option that people would have. So I see a lot of positives in that location.
They seemed very enthused about Townsend and what was going on here. And I thought it was a good idea that Ed and Ryan had come up with to personally go ahead and meet with those superintendents. And try to, make those inroads. That's worked out beautifully in Fremont. And the attitude, just shifting the attitude, not even so much what Townsend is, but what it isn't. Cause they have misconceptions, I'm sure, about what they think we are. As opposed to what we're presenting. So it was very positive. I was very excited about it.
So, but looking forward to seeing where this leads. Obviously, this ties to our discussion on enrollment. There's a large population in Lorraine County that would benefit from Townsend's presence there. And again, that's one of the 6 counties that we are to serve. So it makes sense to look at establishing a location for students. Okay, I'm gonna pass things on to Tara and Ashley. They recently attended a conference in San Antonio that the board approved this past summer, I believe it was. So they're gonna just give us an update and a summary of that conference.
Bringing your best, being your best for your students, and just like, the importance of, seeing them, seeing their needs and kind of the why.
It came a lot back to the why, and the focus was it only takes 30 seconds out of your day to greet someone, to make that report, to change that kiddos. Like, it could be that last 30 seconds that you may ever have with that kid. That could be the only 30 seconds that kid may ever remember you by. Even an adult, it's that first impression, last impression, it's 30 seconds. And it doesn't take that much out of you. So, like, it really hit home. Like, we see some of these kids, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe not at all, but like, just trying to build that rapport, because a lot of them don't have that stability in their house, in their homes, and that's what they're seeking. And I don't it was moving, like.
It was a really great conference. I think I could go on all day. Most of the speakers, presenters and that kind of stuff seem to all be people that came from nothing, like struggling, not great family. And most of them told a story of an educator that changed their life and put them on a track to become great, to become what they are, and so.
Yeah.
It was very moving, so I'm hoping that we can take, you know, some of these speeches and some of what was put out there. And some of that inspiration and really put that out there for our staff too, and kind of get that to then hopefully trickle down to what they do and the impact that they have on our students. So it was great.
So
Thank you.
as you watched as you attended the conference and experienced those things, how do we fare? How does Townsend fare with the direction that we need to go?
I think most of us are here for the right reason, like most of us have that desire to make the impact, to see that all these students count. You know, and know that the relationships really are key. I mean, I think it's the relationships that set us aside from most schools. Like we want to get to learn about the students and what we can do to help overcome those barriers.
I think we're typical, like a traditional school where we have, like, we're broken to thirds. We have a third that is like going, we got a third that's, you know, average, and we got a third that's just kind of, we're here. We just need, you know, but that's everywhere, you know, so, but we're trying to capture them all to be up there because that's what we need. But going back to that why, like, but also if you don't wanna be that why, I don't know, I'm different, oh. It's my feeling, like, cause our kids need us, they need that whole 100%.
Well, and it's something to consider in terms of evaluations and moving forward and rehire and all that kind of thing.
Which we really do, like, when we hired this year, we really went through, like, a process with these kiddos, like, the people to make sure they're the right fit for our kids. Moving forward, we don't want a warm body, we want someone that's gonna be engaging, that's gonna wanna go out and grab, you know what I mean, like, self-motivating. We don't need someone that needs us to keep telling them what to do. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We
actually,
really appreciate you guys allowing us to do this because it was awesome. I wish we could bring all those speakers here. The one spoke for North Point, or not North Point, but, yeah, North Point.
Joe.
Yeah, so Joe's a principal from Wisconsin, but I guess he was the opening for North Point's like leadership group this summer.
oh,
But we missed out because we haven't quite gotten that connection with them. Yeah, they don't invite us. We're working on it.
We go to several things like the special ed, directors meeting, you're part of that, I'm part of the BAC, which is North Point. We just haven't been fully embraced with North Point yet. There's been progress since a few years ago.
We're trying.
There's one person holding up us being part of them fully, so maybe in time.
We're breaking the barriers. We're
Working, right? I mean,
What's that?
just keep working,
That's
you know what I
happening.
mean? It's like that excitement out
Just give us
there
a chance.
is.
Just give us a chance, is what we said.
Why weren't you guys in the front row of that video is what I want to know.
Because at one point we were dancing and we didn't wanna misrepresent Townsend.
We were there.
Yeah,
We were
just-
there. I was
looking for you guys in the video and I didn't see you, but that's okay.
So those people lining up to get in the front row, like we had to break down, like.
It's like a concert, like a general admission concert.
Mhm.
It's exactly, there, obviously, there were.
You'd have thought
people
Taylor
jumping.
Swift was there on stage. Okay.
I was like, who's this famous person that we need to see, cause I'm in the back row here. And I may have gotten sick out there, so I really didn't need to get anybody else sick.
well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thank you both for the opportunity, I appreciate it. I do have one additional thing to share here, it's in your folder. Actually about an hour ago, Leslie Gaynor sent me an update on how the therapy dog is doing, she gave me some feedback, so I thought I would include that in our folder too. I'm not gonna go through and read this for you, but you can see here that from the data that she's provided, that there's been a very positive the difference being made from the students that were surveyed. For looking at how they felt before and after their visits with the therapy dog. Helping them to reduce stress, anxiety level, increased ability to cope, elevating their mood and experience positive social interaction with those who have been around the dog. There's some comments also there at the bottom, but I just wanted to share that feedback with you so that you can see that the therapy dog is making a positive difference with our students.
Very good.
Are there any questions on that?
Nope, I like it now.
That dog was the sweetest dog ever. You don't have anything to worry about.
You would never know the dog is going, you never heard a bark or anything.
I'll be honest, she makes my day better. She's here early.
She's super mellow.
When you walk out at the end of the day, the first thing she does is go roll around in the grass. It's just like, I walk out and I'm just so happy to see it. Like, it's great.
So moving on to new business then. We have a resolution to approve the award of high school diplomas to following students upon successful completion of the graduation requirements as set forth by the state of Ohio. We have Easton Haynes, we have Aranaya Rendon, and Jasperi Steber. So 3 additional graduates this month. Item B is a resolution to approve for recycling or disposing of technology items that are no longer functional or beyond end-of-life support as provided in the attached list. So the list is in your folder there. This is an old requisition from many years ago in which we purchased the Jive phones, which were office phones. Our office phones were recently replaced through our partnership with Noeca. And just looking to get rid of these phones, possibly sell these phones and this technology, but that takes board action to do that. Is there anything to add to that, David?
They're not compatible with our, system. We have lots of them taking lots of.
And then the last item under new business is item C, resolution to approve the following school policies, which will replace our previous school policies. So over the past couple months, we've been, I should say Amy Goodson's office has been working on these policies, which we had previously voted to have them rewrite our policies, which have previously been provided through Dickinson and White. So here's a list of the policies. Their structure, the way they do policies, is a little bit different. So some of these policies include several other policies of Dickinson Wright's policies within one. So overall, there are less policies. However, they've incorporated what we had into fewer policies. If that makes sense.
It does, because, and Brian and I talked briefly about this afternoon. As I was going through the policies and trying to compare, what I saw was Dickinson and Wright maybe we might have had 3 or 4 policies on one side. And then it was narrowed down and condensed in the Goodson policy. So the reading is good, I checked the ones that I was especially interested in seeing how they were incorporated, and they seem to. We weren't losing anything that we had voted on and decided on, and that was the main thing I was concerned about. I did not look at every single one, but Ryan and Kelsey assured me that they had reviewed them. I don't know if any of you have looked at them at all or not.
It's a lot of them. I started going through some.
Yeah,
She took our input, on one, like the ones that would require it, I guess, so we worked with her as she was developing them, which was really helpful. Like we specifically referenced like for the leave policy, just because we had gone through it last year with a fine tooth comb.
yeah.
So we really wanted them to mirror what we had already worked on and had, so she did that.
And then explain, Ryan, before we accept them, how they're going to be presented then, the format and that.
So they are housed in a Dropbox link, which is kind of similar to Google Drive. It's a different system though, but this link will be shared. It will be able to be viewed by the public. We will link this to our website so that the public can also view our policies like they did in the past, but that was through Google Drive. As there are changes, Amy's office will update the policy in Dropbox so that they're automatically updated. It's just gonna be a more fluid system where we have to do less to keep those policies updated and current. Should make life a little bit easier for us.
Are there any questions about this?
No, no.
Okay, very good. Let's move on then. Is there a motion to approve items A through C of the superintendent's report?
So moved.
So moved by Kent, is there a second?
Second.
We've got a tie, I'm gonna give it to Jackie. Very good, any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll have the vote.
Mr. Evers?
Yes.
Mrs. Solis?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes. I have, no, additional, business. I did want to ask a question before we adjourn in terms of, parking lot. Did anything transpire as far as the parking lots over here and paving it and where we stand?
Other than conversation with Ed Kurt, who had Josh Hula over here looking at it. Josh had said that the drainage down there, the front drain should be sufficient. He said that when we go blacktop, concrete, whatever, we need to have like a raised edge on the side there so that the water doesn't run into the backyard of the duplex there. And again, last month we had talked about how concrete might be comparable in price to blacktop. Maybe a little bit more, but in time you don't have to go back and resurface, and, do all the maintenance work each year like you would with blacktop. So we have not gotten any quotes at this point in time. I think this is a project that would be best to do in the summertime when there's less traffic around.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to hold off maybe a couple months till spring and maybe get some quotes in.
If you're gonna be doing the concrete or blacktop, it's gonna be better off, it's just better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was thinking like we can definitely start reaching out early, but probably at least in the new year.
Okay, and then the vans.
So our purchase orders are placed, so we've got 2 that are like designated for us, it's just a matter of when they're gonna come in, they gave us a timeline of about 4 to 6 months. But they will have 2 that are specifically earmarked for us.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I should have done this under the president's report instead of at the end. But the other item that we need as board members to be aware of is that we'll be doing an evaluation of Brian and Kelsey. Here, we'll start it in January, complete it in February. And then we'll be looking at in March the staffing needs that we have, considering, of course, where we're gonna be and what we need and how much money is available. So, just kind of looking ahead to what's gonna be happening with that. If there's no other, business or items for the good of the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Meeting is adjourned at 4:50.